So I'm pleased to welcome Kate Howe, the executive director of a best-in-class collaboration called Indy Hunger Network based here in Indianapolis. The question has come up, why does the community need to invest in Gleaners and Second Helpings and Midwest as individual service providers, but also what's that extra value or reinforcement that Indy Hunger Network provides?
Well, as you mentioned, Indy Hunger Network is a collaboration. We're a collective impact organization, which means that we try to sort of have a value-added impact on the hunger relief system. So Gleaners and many of our other partner organizations are doing the feeding, and Indy Hunger Network is working at a systems level to affect policy, to provide supportive services that will help you all do your work better, and to collect a lot of data information that will support your goal setting for the work that you do here at Gleaners and other partners across the city.
You mentioned data and certainly not just those of us who are serving our neighbors directly see value in that data and the analysis and the amazing work of Dave Miner and other researchers, but I think it's become a resource for policymakers and funders and other organizations in the community too.
Yeah, so we started collecting data back in 2014 on what we call the meal gap. So how many meals are being provided and what is the existing need? So how many more meals do we need to provide collectively, all of the hunger relief providers in the city, both private and public programs, to make sure that everyone has 3 meals a day, 3 healthy meals a day. And so we had a baseline from 2014, we measured again in 2017, and then we did our regularly scheduled every 3 years in January, February, March of 2020, and then everything changed in March 2020. So we realized that the numbers we had gathered early in the year were no longer representative of the current state of hunger in our city. So we got some additional funding from the Indiana Minority Health Coalition, which has been a really important partner, as well as the city of Indianapolis, to run a second study in July of 2020, June and July of 2020, to look at what had changed over those 3 months. And as we all know, hunger increased dramatically, but so did the response. So all of the partners in the city, the funders and the service providers, banded together to really meet much of that increased need, and so it was a success story. But we're keeping tabs on what the impact of the pandemic has been on our community.
Talk, if you would, too, about a couple of programs as examples that either started with IHN and IHN continues them, or you've incubated with the intent of letting them scale up or spreading. I mean, Community Compass comes to mind as one that has scaled up and has potential to continue to scale, but Cooking Matters class came up in another segment in this series as well.
Sure. Well, I'd be happy to talk about both of those, as well as a program that comes to mind that we've handed off to another partner to run, which is the Fresh Bucks program. So we started that program several years ago. It's a really innovative program that helps people who are using SNAP benefits to access that fresh local produce that is provided at farmers markets. It really proved to be more of a nutrition program than a hunger relief program, and so we passed that program off to the Marion County Public Health Department, which is working with the state health department to grow and expand it and help it thrive. So we were proud to be the incubator and then pass it off to the best partner for long term. For Cooking Matters, we've been teaching classes since 2015, and these are cooking and nutrition education classes that are really targeted at folks that are using food assistance. So people on a limited budget who want to eat healthy meals may not know what healthy is. It's hard for all of us to navigate, but they might need a little guidance on what foods they can eat that will be good for their health. And so we give them quick, easy recipes and techniques for preparing those healthy meals every day. We try to get kids involved so they're learning with their parents and reinforcing those good habits at home. And then we also provide them with cooking equipment when they finish the class. We have a graduation, which for some people is the only graduation they've ever had. It's been a really rewarding program for us and for the participants, but we feel like we're doing important work in helping people make the best of their limited budget to improve their family's health.
Thoughts on other things we might do together or that the community can get involved to help Indy Hunger Network or others, and not just in nutrition or food security education, but just in general, some ways that we might invite our neighbors to step up and join us and help us?
Well, for Cooking Matters in specific, we love to have volunteers.
Right.
But the way that I really encourage people to help Indy Hunger Network is with Community Compass. Community Compass is an app, but also a website and a texting service that helps people connect to food resources in their neighborhood. And so if you need help with food, you can go and find a food pantry, you can find a hot meal site, you can find out if you qualify for federal nutrition program benefits, and then where to sign up for those and where to use them once you receive SNAP or WIC. Even if you don't need food assistance yourself, put the app on your phone. So if you run into somebody on the street that is needing help, you can direct them to a place that's open today that's in their neighborhood to find that help that they need.
So, but Community Compass has evolved over time in terms of what it offers, what geography, and you have some aspirations for further evolution too. Do you want to share some of that? Or
Sure. So we launched the app in February 2020, again, right before the pandemic started. We had no idea how important it would be to have that tool available for people who had never needed food assistance before and didn't know where to find it. So we quickly added some additional features. We added filtering to help people better find what they needed, and feedback for people to let us know if something wasn't working or they wanted to add a resource to Community Compass. We added Spanish language towards the end of last year, and we added, when we launched the website, that allowed us to translate into several more languages. So now you can go to the website and get Community Compass in 11 languages, maybe more in the near future, depending on folks coming from different parts of the world that need access. So anyone in Indiana will be able to access Community Compass to find what's available in their community.
I've been personally pleased, but also as the leader here at Gleaners, to see the evolution of Community Compass. That's just phenomenal value for our neighbors, and it's already challenging to be in poverty or be food insecure, and just navigating the complex information, transportation, and so on is so hard. But I want to take you back to a question I asked a minute ago, where I asked about resources or ways people can help with Indy Hunger Network. What would you tell them about other needs and ways they can get involved?
Well, I would say support the hunger relief organizations that are providing the food, and support Indy Hunger Network, which is the glue that knits them all together. Okay. We see ourselves as the sort of the big picture folks that help to make sure that with all of the great work that's being done in the city, we can piece those programs together for people in need through information, through supportive programs, through working to change policy at the city, state, and national levels to make public policy more favorable to people that are living in need.
So I'm glad you mentioned advocacy, because we really do need to continue to communicate that street level reality that we see every day to our federal and state policymakers. There's no escaping that they need to be partners in this process, and it takes all of us. Indy Hunger Network is in a unique central role. So if you were to sort of map out where you think we're going as a community, where you think we should go collectively, where's that Indy Hunger Network future role, and what's the best role for others to help drive that success?
Well, it's nice to see so many people interested in food insecurity and really focusing on how we can improve the system long term, not just feeding people today, but making sure that we have enough food long term for everybody who needs it. And, what I've found interesting over the past year is that a lot of these groups are coming sort of to the same conclusions about where the needs are in the system in terms of more cold storage, more communication across organizations, more input from the people that we serve to hear what they want and need. And so I think, these different processes and these different partnerships are leading to the same place, which is just continuing to work to connect all the great work that's going on in the city through better communication, through as many collaborations as we have time and funds for.
Right.
Not just did we feed this person today, but do we have enough food for everybody tomorrow? We're working in the right direction. We just need to do more. And the more people that come to the table to help, the better chance we have of success.
Kate Howe, Executive Director of Indy Hunger Network. It's a privilege to be your partner in this shared mission, and thank you for joining us for this Gleaner series.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and thank you for your partnership in Indy Hunger Network.